What Juicy say? He be like, shut the fuck up!
Mr. Cap, I think it's about time, man, you tell these motherfuckers how you start your day, man.
Backseat killing it, got my feet up, bad shorty, and she feeling it. I'm the realest nigga that she been with. I'm the realest nigga that she been with. Niggas just talk, but I'm living it. Riding in the backseat, killing it. Got my feet up, bad shorty, and she feeling it. I'm the realest nigga that she been with. I'm the realest nigga that she been with. Niggas just talk, but I'm living it.
I was shooting K's with the mask, kick dope for the stash. 9 rand Calabas ass with a meal stash. Broke niggas still moving slow like my last ass. NASCAR hustling his hoe. I like fast cash, haters like a bad rash. Fuck with me, we gon' pass. Get shot in your gas ass. We ain't giving pass ass. Diamonds on my teeth ass. These bitches ain't keep us, but I suck it dry just like they mosquitoes.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 42 of the Splash Cast, the Around the League edition. I'm your co-host, Reggie.
Your co-host, Norwood, and I'm thrilled to be here. Let's get into it, my friend.
Oh, man, I'm thrilled to be here, too, man. Let's get into it. I feel like I hadn't said that in a while. Let's get into it.
Let's start the part a little different. Let's go ahead and remind people, Splash Cast, well, number one, there's an ATL edition that came out on Tuesday. Splash Cast 12-pack came out on Wednesday. And just go ahead, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. Just wanted to get that out early in the pod so y'all remember.
Yeah, man.
Hit the button. Hit the button right now.
Hit the bell on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. Hit the bell on YouTube. It's below us. Hit the bell on YouTube. Subscribe so that we can get some more interaction. We're trying to grow the audience. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. With that being said, on the Around the League edition, we always talk about HBCU news around the culture, news around the NFL and NCAA football, news around the NBA, as well as the splashes of the week. And as you know, we are watching the Hawks play against the Raptors. So if there's a random outburst or frustration, that's why. But with that being said, man, let's get into this HBCU news around the culture first. Man, we got a few topics we're going to talk about. It's not HBCU news without talking about the first family of Black college football right now. The current first family, not the historical first family, because there's a whole lot of them. The current first family of Black college football, the Sanders family.
This is what that segment is now. It's the Dion segment. So come on, let's get to it.
So the thing about why Dion has actually been pretty quiet, but one thing that he is doing is setting his sons up, especially his youngest son, Shador, to be a force in the media as well as in Black college football. Shador Sanders has become the first HBCU athlete to sign an endorsement deal with Gatorade. Let's let that sink in for a second. Gatorade.
Numero uno.
He inked a multi-year partnership agreement where he will work with the brand to drive national exposure of HBCU programs and athletes across the country. There's already star-studded athletes that include Serena Williams. I don't even have to say Williams. Serena, Candace Parker, Zion Williamson, DK Metcalf, Jason Tatum, and of course, the original, the GOAT. I won't say the original, but the GOAT, MJ, is also. I don't know if he's still sponsored by Gatorade. I don't see it, but he was sponsored by them for a long time.
And shout out to where Gatorade originated, right there at the University of Florida. Go Gators.
Take your wins when you can get them.
I win a lot. I went on. If anybody would know about me taking wins, it would be you. And once again, next week's beers on you.
Hey, man, like I said, if I can provide beer for you to drown your sorrows from this football season, you can go ahead. But the CMO and vice president of Pepsi Cola Beverages of North America, the South Division, expressed his excitement about Shador Sanders joining the Gatorade team. He says, and I quote, Chauncey Hamlet says, as one of the country's best freshman college football players, Shedeur is an incredible addition to the Gatorade family. In his first year at Jackson State, he's already demonstrated the excellence and tenacity Gatorade athletes are known for. We're excited to partner with him and build upon our commitment in supporting HBCUs and their athletes. So one thing that I do admire about what's going on right now is we're not letting this moment, and when I say we, HBCUs, are not letting this moment pass us by. It is right now culturally popular to be part of the HBCU culture right now. And we are taking all of this money to try to grow the brand and grow what I wouldn't say grow it, rebuild it back to the prominence that it once was. Man, how do you feel about this, dude? Man, I am proud of Shedeur for this.
Strategy in which Deion takes to put each piece of this together is exemplary. I think that for me, that is the biggest thing, is all of his steps seem to be very calculated and executed almost perfect.
His team, the team he has around him is A1. I don't know who he has as his advisors. I don't know who's there, but he has them. They are giving him great direction. It's almost similar. It reminds me of a team, the LeBron James team that he has around him, where it seems like all the moves he makes are great moves. So shout out to Shedeur. Shout out to Shedeur for I guess this would be an NIL deal, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It definitely would be an NIL deal. Speaking of NIL deals, name, image, and likeness deals, this just in hot off the presses, Grambling State University. I am happy for HBCUs. I am not happy that Grambling is doing this, but it is what it is. Grambling State University is set to announce a name, image, and likeness deal for all, not some, not football, not basketball, for all of its scholarship athletes, where every Grambling athlete receives annual income for their NIL, name, image, and likeness. The deal is believed to be the first of its kind. Let's stop and give them a round of applause before we get into the details on that.
Now, what y'all may or may not know is me and Reggie have been talking about Hugh Jackson has had something to drop here for like the last 2 weeks. And I've been wondering what it was. And he said, yeah, I got something big coming. And then I was like, Hugh, you got me feeling like a fool here, because I was listening to what you said, and you said you had something big coming. And then out of nowhere, finally, he drops the news. And this is a big win, and this puts pressure on everybody. Not just HBCUs, but every school. And I think this is specifically a big opportunity. Once again, you don't have to create the wheel. Just copy it.
And here's the thing that's important about this. Even though the income amount is unclear, but the school has a commitment from at least 2 companies, Urban Edge Network and Athlete, spelled ATHYLT, to provide income for all Grambling scholarship and athletes, all Grambling State scholarship athletes. I believe that's 2 Black-owned companies. I'll verify that, but I'm pretty sure that's 2 Black-owned companies, or Black-founded companies. That's putting your money where your mouth is.
And as a person who had multiple brothers who are college athletes and friends who are college athletes too, you don't really have a way to make any money. It's not like you can blow. Yeah, it's not like I can get out there and go to work. No, I got to go to practice. And if you really listen to a lot of college athletes, how do they end up in the most trouble? Well, I didn't have any money. Yep. Didn't have any money. I did not have a way to get any money. So I had to do this.
Make do, yeah.
And that's not, I mean, we all adults. When you don't have and you have no opportunity to get to that point, then you might have to do what you have to do. And I think for me, and specifically HBCU students, man, this is, I hope this is a way to keep a lot of kids out of trouble and keep people in college. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the things that's most important is going to school, getting an education.
I think this whole NIL deal for what people that wanted things that were for NILs was this also is keeping kids in school, right? So like you said, you don't have to go to the NBA at 19 because Kevin Garnett's story. He's taking care of his sister in Chicago and they don't even have shoes. So he had to go to the NBA. You don't have to risk that. You can get the proper development and be a better player, or you can go and stay in school and get your degree because you now have money to send home, or just take care of yourself and live while you're there.
Not be broke, man, even though I was still broke, man.
Yeah. So shout out to Grambling, man. And also, if y'all have a chance, it is Pete, Pethamel, Peach Thamel, or Thamel, was the one who broke this news on Twitter. Just go look at that thread and see the angry Anglos that are.
Didn't they call that angst? Angst.
They are mad, boy. I mean, they're mad. They're already upset. That's a charge. They're already. Oh, y'all call block Matt? Come on, Hampton alumni. But they're already upset about Deion taking away all of Florida State's top recruits and players.
My problem. Not my problem.
They're getting mad at Southern because Southern has started taking players from UL, which is a big thing in Louisiana, Louisiana Lafayette, Louisiana Monroe, and from Tulane. So they're already mad at them. Now they're getting mad at Hugh because Hugh's like, we're going to play the game. If we're going to play the game, we're going to play the game. So y'all can't get mad at us because we playing the game that y'all invented and starting to learn how to do it better than y'all.
Just running an operation that we see. What that looks like.
I keep watching, man. They just went on a 9-0 run against the Hawks to take the lead. It's just Fred VanVleet doing Fred VanVleet things. But with that being said, man, let's move on to the first ever HBCU Combine took place today. Took place this weekend. All 32 teams from the NFL were there, and it was held in partnership with the Senior Bowl, the event that provided exposure and opportunity to draft prospects who deserve a chance to prove they can play at the next level. 39 prospects from 22 different HBCUs were on attendance, and evaluators spent Friday interviewing and measuring them before they went out to the field on Saturday. Several league executives, including Vice President of Football Operations, Troy Vincent. Y'all, if you our generation remembers Troy Vincent with the Eagles. Director of Football Development, Kevin Booth, was there, and there were a few standouts. There was standout from Virginia State. Shout out to the Trojans. Shout out, that's my wife's alma mater. Will Adams. He has good size. He's 6'1", 186. He plays both cornerback and safety, which is one thing. That's the one. Rare. One of the. It's rare in bigger schools because they have so many prospects. When you get to the smaller schools, you get the HBCUs, you don't get a player that can play DB. His position is DB. It's not cornerback. It's not safety. It's not strong safety. It's just Tyrann Mathieu. You just, whatever you need me to do, just be out there. He's one of those example. Guys. Yep. He's one of those guys, man. He had a 10'3" broad jump. He ran a 4.5 40 and a 41-inch vertical leap, and he had 22 bench press reps. I mean, that's pretty impressive. He was a 4-year starter, and that's just to name a few.
But y'all don't understand the 21 reps at bench. Man, yeah, that's...
And they bench at 225 for y'all to know. Yes. 225. So he weighs 186.
Yes, but most of these, a lot bigger guys are about 21 reps, is what I'm trying to tell you. For him to be a 6'1" defensive back, that's amazing.
Yep. There were other standouts as Alabama State running back Ezra Gray. He ran a 4.3 40. You had A&T's running back Jermaine Martin. A&T has been known to pump out those running backs. Florida A&M already has a safety going to the draft and already been projected to be a mid-round pick and going to the combine. But they also have a guard in Keenan Forbes who's going as well as Southern's wide receiver Marquise McClain was one of them. One of the cool things about this HBCU combine is that they had something called Wisdom from the Legends, where older HBCU players came back and spoke to them about the grind of going through and becoming Pro Bowlers, NFL legends, Hall of Famers. For example, Doug Williams came back, Donald Driver came back. They had a lot of the HBCU Hall of Fame inductees come and actually speak to the players. So this was actually a very, very great event. And it sounds like it's here to stay.
I would assume so. And as guys who watch enough HBCU football, we put a lot of guys in the pros, and they're in the pros for a long time. I don't understand why it's taking this long to have this, but I do think that there are going to be more players getting an opportunity, and I think the players that come out of this are probably going to be some good players as well.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, the best way to nail down and keep this part of the NFL culture now is to what? Produce. So if Dion keeps bringing in these 5-star recruits and athletes, Hughes bringing in these 5-star recruits and athletes and transfers, Southern's bringing them in, Mississippi Valley State is getting transfers. You got Tennessee State,
Hampton.
Y'all got to get off your stoop now.
It is that time. You hear the other people getting paid. But watch Harvey come back. I'm gonna secure one more bag. Everybody get $1 million. Here you go. And you know what? I'll go ahead and sponsor the team for the first year.
Well, Harvey, he ain't sitting down now. They got him. They moved up to the Colonial Athletic Association. We talked about that before. So that's another step getting to pretty much Division 1A. Good shot, Werder. So HBCU culture, man, we have a lot of news to report there each week, is because there's a lot of things going on off the field. It's not just football. And we're about to get to, it's about to be February? What comes after February? March Madness. End of February. What's one thing all HBCUs students go to in the Mid-Atlantic region? CIAA tournaments. Those tournaments are always great to watch. SWAC tournament.
Still in Baltimore. It's in Baltimore now, right?
Yeah.
Charlotte Davis is a whole different animal. Let me tell you.
There's a lot
to see a man about a dog.
It's a lot. It's a lot of edits.
Man, no, it ain't. I ain't bringing that up. Never happened. Never lost.
Oh man. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the HBCU news around the culture segment. We're going to end it on before we reflect about the CIAA.
You got to cut it.
Oh man! So with that being said, man, we're gonna go ahead and get into some news around the NFL, man, and college football. This was a hell of a week in terms of championship games, NFL championship games, and there's some news in college football coming around as well. So y'all stay tuned. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 42 of the Splashcast, the Around the League edition. We're about to get into the NFL and NCAA football news around the league. Got a few topics we're going to talk about today. Of course, you know that this past weekend was what? Championship weekend.
Beer winning weekend. Yeah. Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay. The beer I got, the Buffalo Wild Wings I didn't get, but
BWWs. Don't worry.
49ers Rams, an NFC championship game, was the late game, and the first game was the Bengals and the Chiefs. I think the whole NFL world picked the Chiefs to beat the Bengals.
Be sure they did.
and
we were right mostly.
And for 2 quarters, it looked like they were about to run away with it. The Chiefs went up 21-3 like that. In 13 minutes, it was 21-3. And then the Bengals came back and scored, and the Chiefs were driving at the end of the first half, and they went for it on 4th and goal instead of taking the points. And they ran a jet. And the one thing about the Chiefs, and thing that is always a knock on Andy Reid coached teams, is very difficult for them to run the ball because he's such a spread offense type guy. So it was 4th and 1 at the 1.5 yard line, and they ran a jet sweep to Tyreek Hill. Well, that's normally a good play because Tyreek Hill is so difficult to catch. But the thing about Tyreek Hill is he's 5'10", maybe 160 pounds, 180 pounds. No, he's 180 pounds. So if you catch him, he gonna go down. But you just got to catch him. Well,
you got to. His nickname is Cheetah. Can you catch a cheetah?
Not in an open area at the 1 yard line. And that's what happened. The Kansas City Chiefs caught the cheetah at the 1 yard line. And I said, when I was watching it with my dad, I said, that's going to come back to bite them. And folks was like, and my dad was like, they're up 21. I was like, yeah, the same thing happened with Buffalo. Buffalo fumbled at the 1 yard line going into halftime that would have added a touchdown to it. And they fumbled at the 1, and the Chiefs, ended up coming back out, and, we saw what happened there.
I cannot believe that. That was soul crushing to watch. I was amped. I had LA plans in my head. I was really thinking maybe I should, consider getting a ticket. Like, this is my boy, heartbroken.
And I said they should have taken the points. They should have taken the points. They need to
3 points, yeah.
And what happened? The Bengals, the whole season, have been a second half team. The whole season. Held the Chiefs, the vaunted Chiefs offense, to 3 points in the second half.
And you know what the most messed up part about this whole thing is? Can't even bet on the Bengals. Because if you bet on the Bengals, they will for sure lose.
They are the Bengals.
But they're also in the Super Bowl. So you can't on one hand say that they're the Bengals, but then also say don't bet on them because they're the Bengals. Now, I will tell you, I think they made a very grave mistake, the gravest of mistakes. Cincinnati public schools are going to give their kids the day off the day after Super Bowl Sunday, even though you haven't won the Super Bowl already. Let me tell you. Find a way to jinx yourself fast. And as much as you know how we don't play with the juju, the very last thing that I want to know is that all the kids are going to be out of school. Not a chance. Bad idea. Yeah. And I want the Bengals to win, but I know that they're going to lose.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know that they're going to lose because literally everybody knew that they were going to lose this game. Like, everybody knew. No, I don't remember any commentator outside of Cincinnati biased that picked Cincinnati to win.
Oh.
And Patrick Mahomes in the first half had 3 touchdowns, 200 and something yards.
Rock pot, my man's was cooking.
Going crazy. Second half, 3 points, 2 interceptions.
Life comes very fast.
Sacked 4 times. The unsung hero of this team, of this Bengals win, because you're always going to say Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is that dude. Jamar Chase is that dude. Hell, T. Higgins, who I was like, T. Higgins is the one that will probably win into this game.
And Joe Mixon. They have what looks to be the start of a really good young team. Now, their offensive line is tragic. And I would assume they go full Dallas Cowboys here. And if I have a pick, I would just pick offensive lineman until I get some that can protect Joe Burrow. He's the most important person on this team. And we have to protect our investment. And he's good. Yeah.
I mean, as bad as the offensive line is, they only allowed 1 sack after they allowed 9 sacks last game. Now, a lot of that is Joe Burrow. Now, all sacks can't be attributed to the offensive line. Joe Burrow does hold the ball a long time because he's waiting on 2 people to get open. Well, 3, and one of them got hurt. You got Uzoma. Isn't it how you say it? Uzoma, the tight end, who is having a breakout season. Like, he had been pretty good. He was having a breakout season this year, or Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. Not this game. It almost helped that Uzoma got hurt because they just went to the quick passing game the whole second half. Joe Burrow, because he was 23 to 28, but he only had 250 yards passing, but he had, which is an 11-yard average, but he was getting the ball out of his hands quick. And T. Higgins, 6 catches, 103 yards. Some of y'all don't. Who's T. Higgins? Yeah, y'all forgot about T. Higgins. He was out there with old boy from Jacksonville, quarterback, the starting quarterback for Jacksonville that went to Clemson.
Oh, Kelly Bryant,
national championship winning quarterback.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. T. Higgins was Trevor Lawrence's favorite target the first time they won the championship.
Yeah, I'm literally going through my head like Cleveland quarterbacks.
Exactly. But it's
I'm gonna tell you what my brain was really thinking for some reason. It was like Denard Robinson. Like what?
Robinson from
Michigan? Man, my brain is worked all day. And we come here and lay it all on the floor.
But T. Higgins is a very difficult cover because he's 6'5", but he runs a 4.5. Yep. And the one thing that is the weakness of the Kansas City Chiefs is you have Tyrann Mathieu, who is good at guarding backs out the backfield, getting T. Higgins and all of that. But their strong safety got hurt, and they had to bring in the weakest link, Sorensen, number 49. Now, I get on Norwood talking about Anglo receivers and Anglo skill players and not believing
it has nothing to do with their country of origin. It's just about execution. That is it for me.
I'll let you know, I don't believe in Sorensen or those of that ilk that play that position. I mean,
Jason Sehorn.
That's how far back you had to go to find another.
John Lynch.
Okay, you've going through 3 decades for 3 players. You can say Eric Weddle.
Oh, he bite.
Mm-hmm. You can say Eric Weddle.
That boy came out of retirement.
We'll get to that. But when they put Sorensen on T. Higgins, they was like, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase touchdown, T. Higgins. That's all they did the second half.
Wouldn't you? You see it work, yeah.
And the thing about Patrick Mahomes, he's feast or famine. And at the end of the game, when they got that interception in overtime, I said, uh-oh.
So let me say this about Mahomes. Mm-hmm. And it's almost impossible. And let me say this. I have no business criticizing anything that Patrick Mahomes does because he's probably had the greatest start to playing quarterback of anybody in the history of the game. But you did too much a couple times. Mm-hmm. That sack you gave up, sometimes you got to learn when to take your L and go home. And for a guy who doesn't take L's very often, I can understand how that could be a problem. But
because he almost gave it up at the end of the game. Are you talking about when they went for the field goal?
Just everything. He was forcing it. Sometimes and as a person who doesn't take losses very often, it's not something that he's probably familiar with or even thinks about. But sometimes you just gotta, hey, this ain't gonna work. Get it out of there. As you see, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the king of it. Ain't working. Try something else.
So the thing, I said that this was a passing of the torch type thing because, Tom Brady allegedly retired, unretired. We'll get to that. But Patrick Mahomes is on that trajectory to be the face of the league. The thing about Tom Brady, the way that you beat Tom Brady was not blitzing him wild crazy or doing nothing like that. It was 4-man pressure, moving him off the spot. 4-man pressure, moving him off the spot. They did the exact same thing with Patrick Mahomes. 4-man pressure, keeping containment, and just collapsing the pocket and moving him off the spot. And I don't know how they shut down Cheetah and Kelsey, but they shut both of them down. And that front four, the unsung hero, that defensive, well, they didn't play four. They play like 7 players on that D-line. They play 4 defensive tackles. Those players, that D-line is impressive. I never believed in Hubbard from Ohio State. I thought he was always.
Oh, no.
No, not Chuba. Sam.
Okay.
Sam from Ohio. Exactly. You don't know who he is? I thought he was overrated. He was number 7.
Reggie called me. I know the other Hubbard. Old mother Hubbard.
But the thing is, he's actually good. And the reason he didn't get any pomp and circumstance in Ohio State is because he was there. He was the tweener in between the older Bosa brother and the younger Bosa brother. He was on the other side. And then right after him came Chase Young. So there was no
time for you. There was no time for you. The time in the sun was for the Bosa brothers and Chase. And you probably could have been good, but you was just not their good nor their personalities.
Yeah, man. So, but he's good, man. They started playing, and that was another thing they did. They started playing him as a spy on Patrick Mahomes. He just wouldn't rush. He just stand there. And whatever Patrick Mahomes would do, and if he would kind of mirror him. And Mahomes saw that, so he stopped going left to right. If you notice in the game, he stopped scrambling to the left, scrambling to the right, and them D linemen were just teeing off on him in the second half. And not to be lost, man, Jamar Chase now broke the rookie record for most receiving yards in the playoffs by a rookie, most receiving touchdowns in the playoffs by a rookie. Jamar Chase is that dude.
What do I say every week when I come here? The Burroughs Passing Clinic is alive and well. Cornerbacks go ahead and sign in, get the T-shirt. They're about to show you how to do this. Man, and they do it every week.
Man, Jamar Chase. Remember when they said Jamar Chase couldn't catch? He said, man, it was difficult to go from, college footballs have the white stripes, so it's easy to pinpoint the ball versus the NFL. And it's like, he can't catch. They made fun of him. Super Bowl.
Boy, see, that's the reason that I could never be this good, because I'm super petty. I would play all of this. I posted on my Instagram. Yeah, I go into the interview and I'd be looking for that guy.
And that's why people like Joe Burrow, because we're just gonna leave Gary Trent Jr. wide open. Huh? Joe Burrow is petty. Joe Burrow calls out the media. He pretty much calls them out every week now because they made fun of him. They said he wasn't going to win the division. Y'all said, y'all laughed at me, won the division. Y'all said we weren't going to win in the playoffs. Y'all laughed at me. We won in the playoffs. Y'all said we can't beat the Chiefs. Everybody picked us. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Yep. What you going to do with that?
Man. Joe Cool.
And you got to like him. He believes in himself. He came to play football. And not only did he come to play football, he came to kick your ass.
Personally.
Yes, you. Wow. Yeah, I've been waiting here. I'll be your Huckleberry.
And the thing is, you should have known when he showed up with that mink, that fur.
Man,
that gray bubble jacket with the fur hood. I was like, with the Nike swoosh chain and the Gucci glasses. I was like,
And they asked him what a diamond's real. He said, I make too much money for him to be fake. I said, oh, my goodness, that's a future bar. Jesus. Joe Beasley, I make too much for him to be fake.
Boy, he looked like he was in – it looked like – it reminded me of the entrance of – I don't want to say this because it's a good idea. It reminded me of the entrance of Belly when they were walking through the strip club and down at the robber.
As soon as you said it reminds me of the entrance and then said, I shouldn't – everybody knows what interest you were talking about. There's only one intro to anything.
One of the greatest starts of a movie ever.
It is. Possibly the greatest start. So you like Hype Williams. Hey man, you have
that's going on the spot. Ooh, bonus style.
I'm 100% sure that's already on the master list.
Probably. Actually, I am sure it's on there because I listen to it every day. So shout out to the Bengals, man. Patrick Mahomes. Hey, Now all the questions are going to come right back. Is Patrick Mahomes this? Is he? I was just kissing his ass last week.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. They already said they were already questioning his contract when they didn't win the Super Bowl, even though he played the best game of his life.
Let me tell you,
horrible.
You can think about a whole lot of things, but Patrick Mahomes and that contract, that's what I really wanted to talk about. Was the AFC has a little gauntlet of quarterbacks in there now. You got Joe Beasley, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. That might be your Brady, Manning, Rivers part 2. I'm interested.
I mean, the AFC West alone, you have Justin Herbert. I
forgot about Herbert.
You have Justin Herbert. You have Patrick Mahomes. You have Denver, and then you have the Raiders, who just made the playoffs. We don't know if they're going to keep Carr or not, but we'll get to it. Aaron Rodgers, the Aaron Rodgers might be going to Denver allegedly. I wouldn't go if I were him, but
I'm talking about the young guys who you're going to see for a long time. You got to think it's not heartwarming to know that you have to deal with Herbert, Mahomes, Allen, and Burrows every year.
Oh, you didn't even mention Lamar Jackson. Like it's just it's kind of silly in the AFC while y'all playing. It's kind of silly out there right now. But the reason I brought up Cincinnati, I wanted to look up their GM, who's Paul Brown and Mike Brown, because they put together that defense, because that secondary was lights out the second half, and they signed a lot of players in the offseason that are good secondary players that have proven themselves, and they look like they've taken the winning formula. And
doesn't the Brown family own the Bengals? Almost. I think so.
Owner serves the team. Yes, Mike Brown. Owner serves the team's de facto general manager. He said, I own it. I'm making decisions. What is going on? We have literally given this game away.
Keep playing. It's early. It's early. We'll be fine.
Anyway, moving on, man. Sorry, my bad. Moving on. Let's get to this game that you want some beers off of. 49ers versus Rams. It was funny watching the game in Payton because you had to cheer for Matt Stafford, which was hilarious.
It's a tragedy.
Dang, John, you getting killed by Scotty Barnes. Matt Stafford and the Rams beat the 49ers 20-17. San Francisco looked to be in control. They were up 17-7 going into the fourth and allowed 13 points. And really what happened was that defensive line just took over. And Jimmy G did the exact thing that we thought Jimmy G was going to do, that he did literally in every close game. That was a travel. Literally, he did in every close game going forward. We had 5 turnovers in 5 minutes in the third quarter. He had a turnover at the end of the game.
For me, I told you from day one, at the end of this, eventually you're going to come to a position where quarterback play is going to be the most important thing. Mm-hmm. And when the quarterback play, when the rubber meets the road, let me tell you who is not it. Is Jimmy G. No belief in him. I don't know what his skill set is that he really does well, but let me tell you, it ain't nothing but winning. But how he does it is a mystery to us all.
Yeah, man, and he had a Jimmy G play to end the game. He was scrambling. Aaron Donald, I ain't gonna lie, he was back there. Aaron Donald took over the last couple drives, and Jimmy G scrambling in the pocket, turned in a circle, tried to pitch it to second base like he was trying to get a double play, and it got intercepted, of course, and that ended the game. The Rams are full of themselves. I mean, the Rams were happy, man. I am happy for OBJ out of everything.
And his parents, specifically his dad. Shout out to Black dads. We support them here.
Do you know how upset Cleveland? They'll fire Baker Mayfield if OBJ gets if he wins a ring.
You can fire him because then you look really stupid. You get rid of Baker, you wasted the draft pick on Baker, then you also fired OBJ. I mean, I would say that you would fire the staff, but Cleveland specializes in firing their staff every year or so anyway. So
do it, man. You gotta have some continuity eventually.
How? You gonna pay Baker Mayfield for what? Only place he's good is in progressive commercials. Yep. Jesus Christ, John Collins, you are playing all full.
But the 49ers, man, Deebo Samuel, they literally tried to just give the ball to Deebo the whole game. And that was it, man.
If you listen to the last podcast, I told you, I'm going to double Deebo Samuels and make somebody else on this team beat me. And guess what they can't do? Beat me. And the only other person is Kittle. And what does it require for Kittle to get the ball? Somebody got to throw him the ball. And who is that person? Jimmy G. So, yes, de facto, Kittle out of there, Deebo, tough luck.
Yeah, and the thing is, the 49ers defense played well enough to win. Like, they played well enough to win the game. They allowed 20 points. They did allow 13 in the fourth quarter, but they had been on the field literally the entire second half. So, eventually, the same thing happened to the Falcons. You just kind of run out of gas. And Aaron Donald was out there playing like a man possessed.
You need more gas. You need more gas when you're dealing with that man and Von Miller.
And Jalen Ramsey was all over the field. And they just took that game. They just took that game. And the thing is, the 49ers had won six straight against the Rams. So that was a big thing for Sean McVay. It was a big thing for Matthew Stafford. I saw a joke on Twitter that, oh, man, Matthew Stafford and Eminem are at the Super Bowl same time. This is the closest Detroit will ever get. And I was like, oh, my God.
That's the truth. Sad but true.
Yeah, man. And Matthew Stafford, you know, he 31 of 45 for 337 yards, 2 TDs and a touchdown, and was sacked twice. I mean, it was a decent game.
We just need you to pull the old UGA, get to the big game, and trick it off. You know that's what we expect of you, Matty. And do it.
And
do it for the world.
Alliance football. How mad y'all are that the SEC got 2 quarterbacks started in the Super Bowl?
Jeez.
That was the thing that you could put the knock on the SEC for a while. Y'all ain't got good quarterbacks. Well,
funny story.
Decent to me.
So we still don't have good quarterbacks.
Yeah. So we are now going to see the Rams versus the Bengals. Bennett. Amen. The Rams versus the Bengals.
Boy, y'all should have saw the sadness at Reggie's face. He was like, and he's coming back.
Makes no sense. Rams versus Bengals in the Super Bowl. We'll get to the picks on Saturday morning live. I guess we'll do that this Saturday.
More beers for me.
It's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks from now, so we may have to wait until Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah. I'm especially with COVID and everything else. I will be making my pick that Saturday before Super Bowl Sunday. Anything can happen between now. Eric Weddle was at home a month ago. What are you talking about?
Jalen Ramsey made that call. I'm convinced. After he slapped that safety, he made that call.
Don't worry. Yeah, I slapped him. Oh, you won't even be here next week, big dog.
Yep.
I'm going to call my boy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm stretching. I'm getting up because I'm about to get on my soapbox for a little bit. All these coaches, all these jobs that are open, and not one black guy has been hired yet. Hold on.
Dude, Kansas is home and your house is haunted.
You heard that?
Yeah, I heard.
All right.
Hope you got your gun.
A few moments later.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I had to go secure my home. I heard an irregular noise. So I have some act right with the rifle rap. So I had to go secure my home to make sure nothing was wrong. But back onto it, I was getting, Norwood said that the man, Google, was listening when I said I'm getting on my soapbox about these black coaches not being hired. Brian Daboll, who is the Bills offensive coordinator, who, funny story, he was at Alabama, is now the head coach of the Giants. He says he likes Daniel Jones as quarterback and he likes the pieces that are there. I think that was a lie, but we'll see. So Daboll is going to the Giants. He's the one that we were just praising Josh Allen. He's the one that Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs praise as one of the best offensive coaches in the game and one of the best coaches to play for in the game. There's also Nathaniel Hackett, who was the Packers offensive coordinator.
You mean the guy calling plays for Aaron Rodgers?
Who is now going to be the Denver head coach. Let's stop there.
Tell me about a job that's difficult about calling plays for one of the best quarterbacks ever to walk the earth.
Probably the best in the league if you think about it. Nathaniel Hackett, he is a head coach. So the thing about Nathaniel Hackett, he's been a head coach or offensive coordinator before. Everywhere he goes, he's kind of given like, oh, they weren't great. So he was with the Buffalo Bills in 2013, 2014. We don't know who their quarterback was. He's with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's like, oh, I had Blake Bortles.
No. It's very clear who the quarterback was. Somebody who allowed them to get all the way to Josh Allen.
Nathan Peterman.
That's tragic.
So, I mean, he's been given like, you know, he's worked with quarterbacks as Bruce Grodkowski, Chris Sims, Jeff Garcia, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brian Brom. Like, he's been given that, oh, I've coached terrible. He's like the Matt Stafford treatment. I'm a good coach. I'm a good player. I'm just on a terrible team. I'm just coaching terrible talent. See the similarities? That's kind of what it is. We'll see. I think this is a last-ditch effort to get Aaron Rodgers. The Broncos have won their Super Bowls with old quarterbacks. And I think that's what it is.
You call Aaron Rodgers an old quarterback?
What, 37?
I didn't say you were wrong. I was just trying to clarify the point. The listeners want to know. What you think, Reg?
He's old, man. So what do you think, man? Do you think these two, especially, you think Aaron Rodgers is going to go to Denver? He says he doesn't want to be part of a rebuild. And to me, they're like smack dab in the middle of a rebuild.
Where do you think you're going to go? Who is not rebuilding?
Tennessee. I already said it.
Okay, he's not going to make it to Tennessee.
Nope. He wants to go to California.
And you talk about old players. They old as hell.
Who?
Tennessee.
They got A.J. Brown.
Julio.
King Henry. Julio is like the fifth option on that team.
And Derrick Henry, he ain't the oldest, but in mileage he is.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's 75. He's been carrying the ball 400 times a year since high school.
That's like people be like, hey, my car's new. Well, the 50,000 miles says that this 2021 has been through it already.
Oh, they called a foul. They calling fouls on the Hawks. Wow, crazy. But yeah, man, so these are some of the players. I think Aaron Rodgers wants to go to San Francisco more than anything. He's from out that way. He went to Cal. But, I mean,
I don't think that's an appealing job either.
I mean, they're quarterback away. If they had a good quarterback, they would be in the Super Bowl and they would have had a Super Bowl.
But Jimmy G's time is gone. You've used the capital in Trey Lance. You gotta see what you get out of him.
Yeah, you gotta play Trey Lance at this point. But I mean, Trey Lance couldn't even beat Jimmy G for the job. So
I don't think that's what the case was. I think that they couldn't give him the job. He got the Stetson Bennett treatment. You just ain't lose the job. But no, Jimmy G, this job not yours next year. And you can't play with Aaron Rodgers because you can't guarantee that he will want to get out in 1 year. And then your Trey Lance time is really going down. And then you might not even be able to really know what your asset is.
And you traded 3 picks for Trey Lance. You got to go Trey Lance.
That's the reason that you can't go Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to be in some type of rebuild. No team is ready-made that he's going to get to. Sorry. Maybe, nah. I was even thinking like a Minnesota, but Minnesota ain't there either. They need
a lot. They got a receiver and a running back. They need a tight end. They need an O-line. They need some defense. Speaking of NFC North, staying there, Chicago has signed Matt Eberflu. Who? Exactly. He is actually the defensive coordinator for the Colts, and the Colts have a really good defense.
All right, just like Matt Nagy. They just keep signing these people that never did anything.
Well, Matt Nagy was supposed to be the offensive guru. Damn, Kevin Herter missed that shot. It was supposed to be the offensive guru. They went back with a defensive coordinator because they have a decent defense.
I hate these guys who are offensive gurus who've never really coached any guru-like offense. You know who you want to you want to know who you if you want to talk about offense guru, Eric Bieniemy.
So that was my next thing. None of these coaches to me are more qualified than Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich. Like none of them are more qualified than them to be able to call it another offensive foul.
Come on.
I'm talking trash. My bad. I zoned out. None of these coaches are more qualified than, any of the black coaches. And all of these coaches, I think this is their, except for Hackett, I think this is their first, actually it is Hackett's their first time jobs.
Raheem Morris, Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich.
Just to name a few. Like, what are y'all doing? Brian Flores.
Hell, David Culley.
Yeah. He was a placeholder. I don't know much about him, so I can't. I'll say hire him. I don't know much about them either, so I hire him too.
Him coaching that sorry-ass team and them not being awful, it to me is a testament. It's so many. You saw what Urban Meyer just did. He lost the whole locker room. David Culley went. David Culley went into the fiery furnace like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah. They won some games too. So I mean,
and just didn't quit.
Mm-hmm. He got him playing, and it was a very low talent roster. Got him playing. So yeah, I agree, man. There's a lot more now. There's still more jobs. It was rumored that Leftwich got the Jacksonville job, but you never know because now Jacksonville's talking about they're gonna look at all these other coaches. So I mean, there's still time for black coaches to be hired, but man, it's not looking good right now, man.
Damn, these motherfuckers gonna make every three.
Every three.
But for me, it is what it is, man. This is no difference in anything that the NFL has done in the past. I was actually listening to Skip talk about how Jerry picked Mike McCarthy, and it was basically they hung out over the weekend, and then after that they were buddies. So he's like, "I'll give him the job." Well, there's probably a very low to almost impossible opportunity for Eric Bieniemy to be kicking it with Jerry Jones, and I'm sure it's not going to go the same way that him and Mike McCarthy go. So until the NFL chooses to do right, which we all know that it won't, all the players will be black, and then you'll get one head coach who's Mike Tomlin, who has never had a losing season. Ever.
So with that being said, though, there is some good news when it comes to black. For some reason, we can't be head coaches, but we can be GMs. Ryan Poles, who is an undrafted free agent by the Bears, ended up after a short playing career working his way up the front office and is now the new general manager of the Bears. That's pretty impressive to me that he stuck with it.
That is an amazing transition from basically being a player that nobody cared about to the man running the entire operation.
And it's also knowing your lane. Like he said it in an interview, he realized early on, okay, maybe I won't be the greatest professional football player, but what I can do is learn the front office and learn how to get to where I'm going, where I want to go. And now he's pretty much making way more money than he would have ever made in the NFL.
And you just go from worried about getting cut to the guy making the cuts.
Yep. So
that's quite the turnabout.
He has secured his future for at least 2 to 4 years, especially if they turn it around.
And once you get into those jobs, you don't ever get out. You just might go somewhere else, or okay, you can go to college and do it there. You're in there. You're good.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's good to see, specifically like undrafted free agents, like guys who really have had to struggle to get everything, to really have to learn the game. And they, typically those guys do make the best evaluators of talent, because they were never given the skills and the gifts that, the people at the top typically were, which is typically like your Michael Jordan guys who just, I can see the game, but to actually put together a team, that's not really my strong suit. I think that, a lot of those guys, this tends to be the turnabout for that.
Yep. And also, the Vikings hired Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who is a 41-year-old former executive for the 49ers, where he was director of football research and development and eventually vice president of football operations with the Cleveland Browns. He is now the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings. So that's also an impressive hire. He's a Princeton guy, graduated from Princeton, where he walked on and played basketball before entering the NFL. And just basically in 9 years worked his way up to general manager, man. It's very, very, very impressive for these two guys to get to the point where they are now basically head of operations and building out a roster and making a competitive winner. We'll be keeping our eyes on them, man. It's pretty cool. Moving on. We already talked about the changing of the guard. Brady is gone, maybe. He says he's not gone. It's reported that he's gone. It got leaked. His agent says, nah, the Bucs are like, we didn't even know what y'all talking about. Everybody's kind of just, I wouldn't say waiting, because if he does retire, then the Falcons, as you said before, become the best team in the NFC South by de facto, because Sean Payton retired.
But now he just took a break. He on sabbatical. He coming back. Know that.
Yeah.
Just hold it somewhere else.
Mike McCarthy, you and 364 days.
No, he's never going to Dallas.
I think he's going to Dallas.
Oh,
I think he's
and listen to Jerry Jones. What about Sean Payton and Jerry Jones look like they're going to work out?
I think he can call his shots a lot with Jerry Jones. Did they call it technical?
And don't forget that Sean Payton is a Bill Parcells guy. And you know how Jerry Jones and Bill Parcells ended up. So I would assume low likelihood, and the Saints have his rights. So Jerry got to give up something to even get Sean Payton. And the Cowboys have done the majority of their, heavy lifting as far as team creation through draft. So I'm not giving up what I do best.
Yep. True.
And if the Saints are going to be like, hey, Jerry, I'm hijacking you. I know that I'm negotiating from a point of leverage. What you want? I want 3 first rounders.
Let me get him.
Yeah.
No, he retired. You can't. They can't.
No. Yeah. If you retire, it's like Andrew Luck. First right of refusal is the team that you will last under contract with. The contract's not up. He has more years on the contract. You don't just get to leave for a year. You don't get to go outside and then come back here. No.
I don't know if that. I think he more retired, resigned. I don't think that's how that works.
It is 100% how it works. You just can't leave for a year and then come back and get a new team. This ain't the video game.
Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. The Bucs got a lot going on. AB is trying to make that organization blow up. Brady's probably going to be like, you know what, I'm out of here. Well, we don't know yet. And the Bucs are still trying. As you know, they lost to the Rams, and they were really missing their number 2 receiver, Godwin.
I assume he goes back, with the injury that he had late, and they're going to be trying to hold on to everything else so that they can basically resell this team to a new quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got everything that Tom had. Now, those are some big ass shoes to fill. You can ask Mac Jones about that. But somebody, that's like a Kirk Cousins job. Hell, maybe you call Jameis back. Hey, what you doing?
Mm-hmm. Maybe. With that being said, we want to give shout out to Ron Torbert, the black NFL head official, who will be serving as the Super Bowl referee. Shout out to Ron. That's very, very impressive and important. The NFL has been making strides in diversity and inclusion. They've brought in women referees who have refereed the Super Bowl. I think they did it last year, I believe. So it is very, very impressive and important. Congratulations to Ron. Salute. And finally, one of my all-time favorite people to hate, Ben, I'm not going to be petty, Roethlisberger, is retiring. It took a lot. I had to pause there, ladies and gentlemen, because I wanted to say what I want to say, but it's just not politically correct.
So this is what I will say. Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to.
No. Go ahead. No, you got it. Because I'm gonna say something wrong.
Yes, I would just say Ben has been a successful football player. And if you're a small college in southern or middle Georgia, be on high alert. Next topic, please.
And fire the janitor. Moving on, man. Let's get into some college football really quickly. This really got two real topics to talk about. Miami hired Mario Cristobal, and they are getting rid of the turnover chain. Miami's getting rid of the turnover chain.
When got to get turnovers. They got to get turnovers.
It was a good run, 4 years, but Cristobal is not that. That's not his thing. So long to the turnover chain, and then they had some touchdown rings or touchdown brass knuckles or whatever they had out there. So all of that stuff.
None of that helps if you don't be winning the games, and y'all don't win enough games.
It was cool when you was 10-1. It's not good when you 6-4. I wanted to get your thoughts finally on our last topic in the football segment. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. So Georgia won the national championship.
Correct. Sad day.
Jermaine Burton was a highly recruited receiver who was a starter. He had 30 catches this year for about 500 yards. Georgia beat Alabama. He then transfers to Alabama afterwards via the transfer portal. What's your thoughts on this? If somebody at Florida transferred to Georgia to play after Georgia or Florida, somebody from Florida transfers to Alabama after Florida just beats Alabama, how would you feel?
Doesn't matter how I feel. Integrity is gone. No, I'm being serious. Like, it doesn't matter. The coaches do it all the time. The coaches can do it. The kids should be able to do it. I don't like either one of them personally. I'm just, I'm wired a certain way. If you're my deepest and archest of rivals, then no, I'm not signing up to play for your team next year. But if the players can do it, if the coaches can do it, then you have to give the players the same opportunity. Do it.
So here's my thing. I'm not mad at it. You touched on it before. Stetson Bennett is back. Stetson Bennett can't throw the ball over the middle.
That's the other part. It's just not a good career move.
You have goals, and it's very business oriented and kind of a mature pick. Although I don't know if I'd have gone there, but
got Bryce.
You go from an offense that features pretty much tight ends and one receiver. They really throw the ball to tight ends and maybe one receiver. And then they run the ball with the quarterback.
And you got Brock there who's going, there's a guy over there to throw the ball to. I'm throwing the ball to Brock Bowers 1 million times. Let me tell you that much.
And then you got Darnell Washington, and then Georgia recruits out of this world, and they have all of these receivers, and you lost your receivers coach. So if you have a checklist of things you wanted to do, you wanted to get a scholarship to play Division I football, you wanted to play football in the SEC at the highest level, you won a national championship. The next thing to do is what? Make it to the NFL. Well, It should be get a degree, but make it to the NFL.
You can go back and get that degree. They're going to have them degrees. And Bogey got them threes.
So if you make it to the NFL, the best way to make it to me right now, wide receiver U was of two places that he was looking at, honestly, LSU and Alabama. They probably put the most wide receivers in the league in the last 3 to 4 years. So, dagger. So, with that being said, man, I'm not mad at Jermaine Burton going to UGA. Going to Alabama. It is what it is.
It's a better opportunity.
You're going to have to see, hopefully, you'll have to see us again anyway. If not, you'll have to see Florida.
Yeah, just beat him.
Anybody else. If you beat him, it doesn't matter. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of our football segment of the Around the League edition of episode 42 of the Splash Cast. We are now going to move on to our NBA segment. Y'all go ahead. News around the NBA, news around basketball. Y'all go ahead. Stay tuned.
You sad, yo.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NBA segment of our Around the League edition of episode 42 of the Splash Cast. We got a few things we're going to talk about today. First off, Draymond Green. We are always a proponent of athletes and those of the such getting their money or setting themselves up to get their money after basketball. So Draymond Green is now has signed a multi-year deal to be an analyst with the TNT once he retires.
I thought this was I was under the impression that he was going to be doing work while he was still playing.
Oh, okay. My bad. I misspoke. Yes, while he's still playing, he still will be there. So one thing that ESPN, FS1, TNT, all of these sports networks are doing is they're allowing players to come in and work in the off season, almost like an internship. I think the first one that comes to mind for me is Ryan Clark for ESPN. He did that a lot. Harry Douglas did it. They do it a lot in football. And then when you go to basketball, Candace Parker does it. Chiney Agumake, please tell me I said that correctly. Does that as well. Dwayne Wade did it for his last year too. So they pretty much set themselves up to just roll right into commentating. And it's actually a pretty good pipeline of players to commentators that they've established.
But I want to highlight this specifically because he's an in-season analyst. So you essentially have two jobs. But with that said, he'll also have the opportunity. He's an in-season analyst, number one, but also he's a player that's still good and playing for a good team. It's not, like Vinny was calling games at the end of the season, but at that point, Vinny was, basically the vet, basically just, he was playing, but not really playing. Draymond is a player who, he's the facilitator for the Golden State Warriors. And for him to be it's going to be interesting for him to be able to give his analysis and then go play against these guys. That's what I want to see.
Well, Draymond has the personality, one, and he already does it because he has his own podcast where he interviews current players now, which is a big thing. Shout out to the Splashcast. We're on that wave too, of having your own podcast. There's other players that have them as well. So he's already been a guest analyst already. So he's kind of moved himself in there already into that space. So
you knew that was coming. You knew that was coming. Him and Chuck have always had this thing, and he tries to be in media as much as possible, not like in the media per se, but actually like a media member.
Mm-hmm. And he likes being that in-between guy of, I'm not media, but I'm not a player.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Shannon Sharp tries to tiptoe that line a lot. His line is a little crooked because he be media one day and then he be a player the next day.
But even still, he's just, I'm a Hall of Famer, so you have to respect that. I'm an athlete, so you have to respect that. But I've transitioned into the media. So when I give you my opinion, you can't be butthurt. This is I got a new job. Mm-hmm. Draymond just has the job and then has to play against these guys the very next night. That's tricky to go out there and say, hey, you can't do a Shaq and a fool and then have to play that dude the next night. He might try to get his issue with you.
Yeah. So it is what it is, man. But shout out to Draymond, man. He's really, really, really happy. On the opposite end of being happy, there's two players. One has been in the news since last playoffs, and the other has pretty much been in the news on and off his entire career. Of course, Ben Simmons. The latest update on the Ben Simmons saga with the 76ers is the Kings are out of the Ben Simmons talk. I think the Kings and the Hawks were like really, people were talking about them making that push for Ben Simmons. It seems like both teams are going to hold steady and not go in on Ben Simmons. So that leaves just speculation. And with the Nets are in a unique position. You got part-time Kyrie, and you have Kevin Durant, who sprained his knee and is out for 4 to 6 weeks. And so James Harden, who's the third person of that big three, is now back in basically his Houston days. He's out there with minus Chris Paul. Like he's just out there. So James Harden is unhappy, and the reason James Harden of that big three is the only one that don't got a ring.
This is let me be very clear what I'm about to say. I don't ever have to hear about a Kardashian ever again. I've never actually searched for any type of news on a Kardashian. That's how I feel about Ben Simmons trades. Don't tell me no more. If he is not traded, then don't write it, don't type it, don't even think it. Just wherever it is, let it stay there and let it stay there hidden for the rest of our existence. And all you reporters, tweeters, everybody, no more Ben Simmons trade scenarios because it's never going to come to fruition.
You think also, you think you'll stay?
I don't care. Reggie, I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to tell you two people who don't care about Ben Simmons, me and Joel Embiid.
Yep. Fair.
Don't care. When he gets to a new team, show me the team picture. That's when I'll be like, oh, Ben Simmons, traded somewhere else. I want to be the last person to know. I want to be the very last person to know. And I want to not know any more information about Ben Simmons.
You want to be the last person to know as long as it's not the Hawks.
I don't ever want to know that. Keep it on the low. I don't want to know. Now, James Harden, on the other hand, he's in the same situation Embiid is in. I want guys who want to play basketball right now. And I know he's looking at, like, number one, my boy Daryl Morey is over there. Number two, Embiid is playing like Hakeem Olajuwon. And I'm over here with broke leg KD and anti-vax Kyrie.
They are a shooting guard away.
And I know he's whatever guard he wants to play. Let me tell you that.
I think it's a good trade. I think it's a good trade because if you put Ben Simmons on that Nets team.
No. Steve Nash,
run up and down the court. Don't shoot. Just run up and down the court.
Yes, but what you got to understand is, first of all, there are a few things. Steve Nash don't deserve to try to deal with KD's knee and leg, Kyrie anti-vax, and moody ass Ben Simmons. And let's also be very real. There's not a chance in hell that Ben Simmons, I mean, I guess he tries to be Amari Stoudemire with less of a shot. Just throwing oops all day?
He has more athleticism than Amari Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire is more of a big. Ben Simmons is more of a guard.
But I'm talking about, like, as far as the game goes, he ain't going to shoot the ball.
Yeah, but I mean, Amari Stoudemire ain't going to bring the ball coast to coast and play point guard every play either.
Now, okay, so Ben Simmons, I'm going to tell you who you think you're going to let Ben dribble the ball and not Kyrie? Kyrie not going for that.
Kyrie can run pick. We're getting into the weeds. They could make it work if they wanted to, but I mean, because Kyrie lets James Harden dribble the ball. So
yeah,
I mean,
let me tell you that Kyrie has an immense amount more respect for James Harden than he does Ben Simmons. Can you just imagine all of those emotions, like right there? KD snarky ass, Kyrie trying to figure out the world, and Ben Simmons being Ben Simmons. Boy, I would not wish that on anybody. Not a soul.
Yeah. So that's interesting to see. Well, it really ain't interesting. We'll see what happens. Of course, the biggest news in the NBA and what Norwood still is trying to rack his brain and find out why is that the NBA starters for the All-Star team was announced. Team.
They need to take y'all votes. They need to take all y'all votes. Hey, sometimes you just have to let people know you're too incompetent to do this. There's way too much writing on this for you to think. And let me kind of clarify. The fans do not deserve a vote in the All-Star. They don't vote for baseball, do they? They don't vote for.
They have a fan vote. Everything is weighted.
They need to unweight that. They need to weight that to like 10%. Because in a world where Andrew Wiggins starts in an All-Star, I don't care what position. It ain't not damn position on that floor that Andrew Wiggins is better than Luka Doncic. If Wiggins want to play the 3, Luka's a better 3. Want to play the 1, Luka's a better 1. But the voting is so stupid that you have Andrew Wiggins, who knows he's not supposed to be there. You ever been in a room full of people and you're like, boy, I do not belong in here. This is how Andrew Wiggins should feel every moment of starting for the All-Star team. Maybe even being an All-Star is a stretch to me.
Boy.
But definitely, sure as hell, starting. Boy, if I was Luka, I'd be like, y'all get him out. 1 minute. Call the timeout. Put the real All-Stars in the game now.
So the Eastern Conference, y'all know that the All-Star game has captains. So the Eastern Conference captain is Kevin Durant. And on Kevin Durant's team is going to be Kevin Durant, Giannis, Joel Embiid, Trae Young, and DeMar DeRozan.
Thoughts and prayers, my friend.
Well, Kevin Durant's not going to play because he has the knee. So, but he is right now. He was front runner for the MVP until he got hurt. So,
yeah.
And then the Western Conference, it's LeBron James, team captain. I think he's been team captain like every year. Team captains. Nikolai Jokic, who is having a phenomenal year, like better than his MVP type year. Phenomenal year.
We call those Matt Ryan years.
Stephen Curry.
Of course.
Still doing it. And Ja Morant is out here. You got to, because they're having an amazing season. An amazing season.
Yeah.
So, and then you have Andrew Wiggins, who's starting over Luka Doncic, who's starting over Devin Booker.
Paul, man, what? I don't often engage in things that I deem to be stupid. This is stupid. And due to the fact that we have a podcast, I have to engage with this. This is awful. And take y'all votes. They need to take y'all votes and stop. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. That's the name of the episode. We found
Stop the steal. Stop the steal.
Yes.
So another interesting nugget about this is
where's the interesting nugget at? Find it, Reggie. Find it for me.
I find it. The number one team in the East is the Heat. No All-Star starters. The number one team in the West is the Suns. No all-star starters.
Now, that's a travesty. The East is tricky because they all been hurt. Bam was hurt for a minute. Jimmy was hurt for a minute. And then for all intents and purposes, all the rest of those guys are role players. So I could understand how they don't end up with an all-star. It's unfortunate, but
all-star starter.
Yes. All-star starter, yes. But I don't think that I'm sure the Heat don't even probably want to go to the All-Star game. Jimmy Butler, like, nah, I'm asleep in a hyperbaric chamber. I'm trying to be ready for the playoffs. Kyle Lowry probably good on it. Bam is like, hey, we're trying to win. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, and they've been hurt. The Suns, that's the reason they got to stop y'all from doing this foolishness. There is no way that Devin Booker nor Chris Paul are an all-star starter, but they have the number one team in the West and the number one team in the NBA and have the longest current winning streak. I mean,
they are demolishing people. Demolishing.
Yes, and guess who we get to play next?
But I mean, when you look at the West, though, you got the Suns, who there were some snubs there. The Warriors got Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins. We'll not put Wiggins in there for now. You got Steph Curry. Outside of Ja Morant on the Grizzlies, you don't really have anybody that you're going to put on there. The Jazz have nobody. Rudy Gobert's been hurt. Donovan Mitchell's been hurt. They just lost Joel Ingles for the rest of the year, torn MCL. The Nuggets got Nikola Jokic. Nobody else really deserves it. Jamal Murray's hurt. Yeah. You have the Timberwolves. Nobody on the Timberwolves really deserves to be an all-star. The Clippers.
I feel like you can always throw Cat in there or Anthony. Anthony Edwards is going to be on the cusp.
Yeah, but not this year, though.
Yeah,
I mean, the Clippers, who's hurt. The Lakers, Anthony Davis been hurt all year. Trailblazers is a no. The Spurs is a no. The Pelicans are a no. The Kings are a no. The Thunder are a no. The Rockets are a no. So when you think about it, the biggest gripe is that he shouldn't be starting. There's really no other snubs, though. How you fill out this roster, though, now that I think about it?
Tony Snell. He didn't ever run around. Tony Snell played 48 minutes. No points, no rebounds, no assists, no fouls.
No steals, no shots.
17 miles. 17 miles. Got my steps in, coach. Got my steps in.
Trainer, like, did you put your Fitbit on a bike? Like, did you just run? What did you do?
Were you on a Segway, my friend? What were you doing?
Oh, man. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the basketball segment of episode 42, the Around the League edition, entitled Stop the Steal. We will now move on to our final segment of episode 42, the Splashes of the Week. Y'all stay tuned.
It will not be replaced. I just watched a documentary on that today. Oh, man, it's free flowing right now.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our Splashes of the Week segment of episode 42 of the Splash Cast, the Around the League edition. Stop the steal, stop the steal.
Not in soil.
We've got a couple things that we're going to talk about today with the Splashes of the Week.
George All-Star game out, boy.
Nor would that have me cracking up behind the scenes all podcast, man. But we got two things we want to talk about, Splashes of the Week, quickly. Shout out to David Ortiz, man. We talked about earlier. Barry Bonds got gypped for not making it to the All-Star to the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame. David Ortiz actually Big Papi actually got elected, and he's a fan favorite. Like, there's no way they weren't going to elect him to the Hall of Fame. And he was on the team that broke the curse, the Bambino curse of them not winning the World Series. Like, shout out to David Ortiz. What's cool is, and that I'm happy for him, is that he threw a party. He threw a party for. No, do you know the Cowboys? What's the dude that plays for the Cowboys that had a party every year and they told that he don't get in? He's the only player on those 70s Cowboys teams that when they won the championship to not get in. He's a wide receiver. I'll think of it in a minute. But yeah, it would suck if he didn't get in. And he threw a party. He had Pedro Martinez there. He had everybody there, and he got in, man. And so shout out to David Ortiz, man. He had a hell of a career in Boston.
Yeah. Even though he did play for Boston, and Boston is one of the most dislikable teams in all the sports, he's a guy who you just liked. He's kind of like Derek Jeter. All right, I might not really like your team, but you hide with me.
Yeah. I mean, he's likable, man. And anytime you break the curse of baseball, you're gonna win. You're gonna get in. You're gonna get in. So shout out to Big Papi, David Ortiz. And then finally, we talked about the NFC Championship game earlier and how basically the 49ers tried to just give the ball to Deebo Samuel and let him win the game, and he just came up short. He was very emotional leaving the field. One thing about Deebo, though, he's a real good dude. Everybody knows that folks play video games. He plays NBA 2K.
He don't want that smoke with me, though. Hey, lace him up, big dog. You're a professional football player. I have nothing to do with this. I have nothing to do with this. That goes for all y'all listening, too. Y'all can get the smoke, too.
That's how you feel.
Damn right.
You feel. So Deebo Samuel, actually, when you play 2K, you could play with friends or you could play against friends, right? So he actually ended up teaming up with somebody on the internet that he met, and ended up playing football, playing NBA 2K with oh man, I'm looking for his name. It's right here. It just says gaming partner. Man, they did my man dirty.
No, he probably want to live a regular life. Now they're like, hey, ain't you Deebo Samuel's homeboy? In fact, I'm not. We play video games together. That's as far as our relationship goes. He's a professional football player, and I'm an accountant.
Anyway, Deebo Samuels flies out his 2K partner, NBA video game 2K partner, to a football game, gets a hotel, gets him tickets, field access, and everything, because he had never been to a football game before. So shout out to Deebo Samuel, man. Keep your head up. I know it was heartbreaking, but that was really cool of you to do. Something that you didn't have to do. And he actually didn't publicize it. It was his 2K partner that publicized it. So
number one, excellent gesture. Number two, you're an excellent football player. Number three, you're getting a new quarterback next season, my friend. Trouble don't last forever. And by trouble, I mean Jimmy G trying to throw a football. That is trouble. And that's forever for whoever signs him next. Please don't let it be the Atlanta Falcons.
We're going to sign him. We're going to sign him for a year.
Sign him to NIL.
We're going to draft somebody.
Sign him to an NIL deal at Hampton.
Anyway, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the Splash Cast, episode 42 of the Around the League edition. If you don't have anything else, Norwood, take us out, man.
Okay, so this is dropping on your beloved Thursday. So that means that Tuesday, you got the Atlanta edition. At that point, we were still undefeated. You also get a Splash Cast 12-pack. And like I told y'all before, this got Gucci Mane on it. It's got Project Pat. It's got AZ. And this is all brand new music. Then we're going to come back right this Thursday. This episode that you're hearing right now will be in your ears on Thursday. Then we also doing Saturday morning live. We're trying to decide if y'all like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., but the key is you have to be there and participate so we can find out. I will be making more bets with Reggie so that I can win more beers. I came up with another 3 6-packs which brings me to 18 beers last week, and 18 and 42, whatever that is how many I've won so far. It feels good to
24 and 18 is 42.
Oh, you're right. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sometimes, you put everything all over 2A.
Oh my God. I'm going to mute you if you don't hurry up and take us out.
Boy, him is hating. But yes, number one, more black baseball. Number two, hire some black coaches. If you can play the sport, you probably can tell people how to play the sport too. Number three, more black cowboys and cowgirls. Number four, send some money to Hampton because you love us and we love you. Then send some money to your neighborhood historically black college and university. I'm sure they will truly appreciate it from the bottom of their hearts. With that said, we just want to tell you that we appreciate y'all coming to kick it with us. You could have been anywhere else in the world. Wait, I'm not done yet. Like, subscribe, follow on Instagram, follow us on Spotify. Also, watch all the YouTube videos. Now that we've said all of that.
And Twitter.
Oh, yes, because we do both live tweet, and you can typically tell who's tweeting what. With that said, it is only one thing for us to do, Reg, and what's that? Hang out. We out of this thing. Adios, mi amigos. Streak over. The only thing we can do now is start a new streak in Atlanta.
Yep. Love y'all. Be safe.
She called me on the rebound. I can't catch a break. I'm with Tony with the Nissan. I'll be on the way. I've been praying for these M's though. Please don't make me wait. I got mama and my mates. She called me on the rebound. I can't catch a break. I'm with Tony with the Nissan. I'll be on the way. I've been praying for these M's though. Please don't make me wait. I got mama and my mates. I got bills due yesterday. I got problems on my plate. I got clips inside this cake. If he slip, I let it spray. If he slip, I let it spray. I feel out my head today. Can't get out my bed today. Talk about what you said today. Talk about what you said today. Talk about what you said.
I got problems, baby. I'm my daddy's son. I'm a product of chicken grease. Right there by my baby, bottled up. I can't coddle none. That don't mean that you can't swallow some. I'm a country boy. I like muscle cars, no push to starts. My shit gotta have some heart. You can see the soul in the joints. Always used to drag my feet. I can't tiptoe around no point. This my shit, my boy. Lit like Big, my boy. Get your chips, then dip, my boy. These niggas around here don't miss my boy. Not trying to miss my boys.
Off of the glass, it's a lot of shit coming to pass. It's a rocket ship come with the gas. I don't throttle it, run it or pass. Yeah, the fun never lasts. I stay going out, keep taking my lighters. I hate going out. I love when I write it. I hate when it's out. I'm tucking these projects and ducking the clout. I don't get excited about the amount.